Do not need it. We are getting new aprons. Start focusing on this front apron. Water. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're gonna be back to work on my 1965 Ford Mustang. As you guys see in the previous video, we went ahead and removed all of the old suspension that we had on here, and I did look up the VIN, and it turns out this car was an original 6-cylinder car. So all that suspension has to go. It had drum rotors in the front, which are junk, and it's not gonna support our 5.0 engine that we are putting in here. And we are gonna be removing these shock towers and these front aprons in today's video. As you guys can see, check this out. Look how weak this steel is right here. It's just, I guess that heat just ruined it so bad because it heated up really hot, and then the firefighters put it out, so it contracted really bad, and it just lost all its structural rigidity. Like, I can literally just bend it with my hands like that, and that is before grinding this down and getting all the pitting out just to make this engine bay look even halfway decent. And if we did grind it all down, it would just make it super weak. And honestly, even if it was your car, you wouldn't want weak aprons on your car, because this is what holds the fenders on, and we don't want the fenders to start sagging over time. So I think we're just going to replace both of them. Super cheap. This section right here is like 40 bucks. This section is 40 bucks. So it's like 100. I think it's like, no, it's like $80 per side, which is super cheap, or $70 per side. And that's just super cheap for just these little aprons. And then I think we might maybe save this radiator support. I'm not sure, because we can probably get one of these probably for like 100 bucks, which is a lot more worth it to just buy a new one versus sit here and straighten all this out and then have issues with the hood closing and have any other issues with the square of the car. And then over here, coming to the back, we did cut the top of the cowl off just to see what was going on over here. And it turns out this lower cowl is warped pretty bad too, so we definitely will be replacing this. So guys, in today's video, what I really want to focus on the car is pretty much removing these front aprons, removing the shock towers, and we'll go ahead and start removing these this cowl section area right here. Remove the outer skin, and then we'll remove the inner skin. Pretty much get all the last pieces of the burnt car off the car, so we can start prepping everything for the new parts. Because as you guys know, we already have the inner cowl section right here. This is from our 1965 fastback, but we can always just order another one later, because this build isn't going anywhere too soon. Maybe in a couple of months we will start working on it. But we have this cowl section, and we have the top cowl section, so we pretty much have everything to fix this car, like the cowl area and the firewall for now. So let's go ahead and get to it and start working on it. The first thing we're going to do on this car is pretty much cut both front sections off, because we do not need it. We are getting new aprons. We don't really want to use these old ones, and I know some of you guys might be a little mad that we're cutting the car up a little bit, but it's fire damage. We got to get rid of it. We got to do it right this time. We can't just not do it right this time, because we are going to have the big old 5.0 engine in here. And we did reach out to a couple of companies. We're probably going to be getting a full lower subframe that's going to weld into the car, which is going to strengthen the whole entire front end of this car and just make it super nice and secure. So let's go ahead and get this stuff off the car. So we are actually going to be using my Eastwood plasma cutter to do this job. It makes everything so much easier. I did actually just bring it from the other shop, so it is kind of still tangled up over here. So let's go ahead and get it out. And here it is right here. This little bad boy is going to help us cut through this entire car. No, honestly, I was thinking maybe cut it like this and lengthen it, because I am getting a little bigger.
Oh, you want to make a limo?
I want to make a limo out of it. So we got the passenger side cut off completely. Now let's go ahead and cut the driver's side off.
spear this man. He cuts them all up.
I kind of cut too much. I didn't even mean to. I literally did not mean to. Like, I was just cutting. I wanted to trim a little piece right here. Finger slipped, cut all this off. So guys, we got the entire front end cut off the car, and I know it might look bad, but all it is 2 aprons and a radiator support, and those aprons were just completely toasted. The heat ruined them, and this is just what we would have to do. We didn't really cut too much of this off because I want to take it off perfectly off the frame rail, because as you guys know, we are keeping the factory frame rails. These things are completely solid. We are just replacing the aprons, and we also have a lot of room to get in here and clean all this off, because I do not want to mess with this firewall. It doesn't really look, it didn't even burn down here. It's really just right here. I'm guessing this foam matting inside the dashboard caught on fire. Guys, don't come after me in the comments just yet. I have some explaining. So we have to get rid of these old shock towers regardless, and they were really just rusted, and the problem was they were heat damaged too. So they're really weak, and we didn't really need them. I don't think anybody would really want used aprons. Like, you can literally buy those things brand new for like 200 bucks a piece, which saves you a lot of time and money. But we got everything cut off. This was kind of just a rough draft. Now I'm actually gonna go by the spot welds and take everything off perfectly, because these frame rails they're in really good condition. So we're keeping the frame rails. So that's like the most important part. I remember on the other Mustang, I just sliced right through them because those were a little bit rusted. But we have a really good platform to use with these good solid frame rails. And now what we need to do really is just start taking off all these pieces by the spot welds, so then we can get it prepped for the new aprons that we're going to be installing on the car. We didn't want those old ones. They're rusted and they're crusty. So now the next task is going to be to start trimming all this up, and then we are going to start taking off all these pieces right here. And I did bring my spot weld remover. This right here is probably one of the coolest tools I own. It's this belt sander right here. You put a belt on there and it grinds through those spot welds. It's so much better than drilling out. Although if you are going to replace the panel, or if you're going to use a used panel, you can't really use this, but you simply put this belt on here just like this, compress that. So basically now what we have to do is go along every spot weld right here and take everything off OEM just to get these frame rails prepped for the new parts.
Water, 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 water. Oh my gosh. Oh my god.
Well, boys, no more plasma cut. We almost burned this thing down for the second time.
Oh my goodness, dude. Good thing that the water was on. Wait, if that... Oh my god. Holy moly. Yo, what happened, dude?
Well, I was trying to get this shock tower off, trying to make content for you guys. Completely forgot that there's a gas line right here. And it turns out it spilled a little bit of gas on, and when I was plasma cutting, it just went whoosh. Shout out to my boy Mark, man. He saved our lives over here. This thing would have combusted and just exploded. But hey, look, I almost got this shock tower off. Half of it's off. We got it cut off. It's almost off. We got to just keep grinding off all the spot welds, and it'll be good to go. So check that out, guys. We finally got everything off. We had a little bit of trouble getting these spot welds down here, but we got both shock towers off. And surprisingly, even right here, this area right here was packed with dirt, but it is nice solid metal, so it'll be a perfect foundation for our new front subframe that we're gonna buy. Or I think we're in the works right now with some companies to see what we can actually get for this car. And pretty much it's gonna be a cross member that welds in right here. So it's gonna tie these frame rails together nice and perfect. And it's gonna be a lot stronger than those old factory strut towers that we used to have. So basically everything here is done. All we're gonna need to do is grind up these welds a little bit more, smooth all this out, get all the old paint off of here, and pretty much prep it for the new apron pieces. Now what we need to do is start focusing on this front apron. It is smoking a little bit. I don't know what's going on there. It is going to be a little bit of a task. We pretty much have to grind off all these spot welds exactly how we did down there. We're basically going to have to pull the bottom piece of the cowl and the top piece out right here. So let's grab the sander and keep sanding all these spot welds out. So we finally got the cowl piece fully removed. This is just the top cowl section. We haven't removed the bottom section. And look at what we found down here. Check this out. It is just rusty and crusty. So we definitely will be replacing this thing here in a little bit. But check that out. And we also have a little bit of firewall rust right here, but it's really minor. We can probably cut a piece out right there. But man, it is not looking too good under here. So we're gonna go ahead and pop this bottom cowl section off and try to test fit our new one and see how everything lines up. So there it is, guys. The cowl is finally removed, and look what's going on under here. So I'm guessing the first thing that caught on fire was just this mat right here, and it just toasted everything inside. But honestly, there's not much stuff on these older Mustangs, especially inside here. Oh, check it out. Here's the glove compartment. What do we have in here? We got some tire safety. Oh, we got some pliers. Check that out. That's gonna be perfect when we're cutting all these wires out of here. Let's see what else we got in here. Hey, a little box of electrical clippers. That's pretty cool. A little bit of this stuff survived, but it doesn't look too rough under here. Pretty much just gonna have to take off all this wiring, the old speedometer. And the cool thing is we won't actually have to take the dashboard out of the car because we can pretty much get to every piece of this dashboard just from here. Now I want to grab that new cowl and put it on here and just see how everything lines up. Check that out. It does need to be straightened out a little bit right here because I'm guessing it was dropped at the shop a couple times. At first I thought this cowl right here welds onto the actual dashboard, but it turns out the top piece lays under there. So let's grab that too. Grab some vice grips. And I do gotta say, big shout out to Milwaukee for these vice grips. These things are freaking nice. Let's go ahead and let's start clamping this thing down. And guys, this is just a really rough draft fit. Just want to see if it lines up as good as it should. So check it out, guys. We got the new cowl fitted on here, and it looks pretty good. Everything lines up a little bit right here. We're having a little bit of trouble. I guess somebody dropped it or I dropped it, so it's not lining up too good over here. But everywhere else is literally perfect. They have it all lined up. Check this out. It lines up beautifully over here. Everything is nice and factory flush right there. Man, this is gonna be nice once we weld everything. But guys, this is just a rough draft fit. I kind of just wanted to see, make sure the fire didn't warp everything super bad, but it turns out the cowl area lines up good. So we definitely will have to take this off in the next episode, clean everything out of there inside, get this dashboard all sanded off, get all the rust off of it, and probably go ahead and coat the back of the dashboard, and then clean out the entire back of the firewall. And then we will have to do a little bit of a rust repair. Probably just gonna have to cut a little piece like this and fix this firewall. It's not too bad. I would not want to replace the whole firewall because it just burnt it up here. It didn't even, there's literally no burning down here. Everything's still perfectly fine down there. So guys, that's gonna be a wrap for today's video. It was kind of a sketchy one. We almost burned the entire car down, but you know what, guys? We had the fire hose. Mark put out the fire. He is our new fireman in chief. But guys, we got the new cowl on. Now all we have to do is wait for our front end suspension. Once we get our front end suspension, we can go ahead and weld all this on, weld the new aprons on, get the 5.0 engine in this car, and then we can start working on all the mechanical stuff by getting all the wiring harnesses and everything sorted out. But if you enjoyed today's episode, go ahead and hit that like button, drop a subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Also follow us on Instagram at vTuned. Thanks for watching.
Mustangs fear this man. He cuts them all up. You're going to jail.
You never had that problem, you ain't got no gas in it. That's sketchy. You could have blew up the whole car. I just had no control. Like, the plasma cutter is so fun to use, and like it just kept cutting.
Dude, you were literally going to get them all concept.
Dude, it's fine. Look, this is what a restoration. I'm not cutting the car in half. I didn't cut the frame rails. That's the most important part. These aprons are literally like 8 spot welds a piece.